Hey folks, we are going to do something a little bit different with today's video. We are not going to talk about Raid Shadow Legends. Instead, we are going to discuss this video and the project behind it. Now, some of you may already know what this is, others may have no clue, but trust me, this is an important topic for the Raid Shadow Legends community, and I think for mobile gamers in general. I've been getting questions on the topic, and so I want to share some of my thoughts with you. I think it'll be a lot of fun and a little bit of a change of pace, but that's always nice. I am Colred, this is Colred Plays. Let's get started. Just a quick reminder, I live stream every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. That is my Takeover Tuesday live stream where I give away free account takeovers for members of my Discord community. So I hope to see you there. We have a lot of fun. While you're here, why don't you please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and consider joining our Discord community. Thanks so much. Now let's get back to the video. Okay, for those of you unfamiliar with Fateless, let me give you just a little bit of background and then we'll dive into the main topic. Now, Fateless is a new indie game development company that was founded last year by Hell Hades, their Raid content creator, and his partners. Their first project is a new mobile game they're developing that's in the same genre as Raid Shadow Legends. So we're talking about a fantasy-themed hero collector, squad builder, turn-based tactical, the whole works. There is a Fateless YouTube channel, there's a Fateless Discord community, and a Fateless website. And they've been giving us updates over the past year as this game has gone from concept into development and progressed through the various stages. And as you can see, just 2 days ago, they launched this video that announced the name of the game. So Fateless is the name of the company, but now they have a game name or a title for their current project. And you can see they're also offering beta signups. Now, if you haven't watched this video, I highly recommend it. Just go and check it out because hopefully it'll get you a bit excited about the potential of this project. I will include a link to this in the description of my video. So if you haven't watched it yet, go do that because I don't want to spoil it. That's not what I'm trying to do. Go ahead and watch that and then you can join me back here and we'll talk about what's going on. Okay, so as you can see here, the title of the game is Godforge. Now let me get this right out of the way. I love this name. I think this is an absolutely fantastic name. It's way better than Raid Shadow Legends, right? First of all, it's nice and concise, Godforge. It's cool sounding. It's definitely going to be like a name that gamers can get behind. But in addition, it actually gives some description, some, feel to the actual game. Because in the game, the characters are the gods, legends, and heroes of various cultures throughout history. So Godforge evokes what the game is about. And I think that is just an absolute home run. They have knocked it out of the park here with the name. And that's very cool to see that, even something as small as just picking a title, which is not small, by the way. But, you think, okay, how hard is it to pick a title? Well, there are a lot of mobile games out there that just have silly names, no matter how good the game is. And I bet there have been games that have been recommended to you that you haven't even looked at because the names just sounded stupid. And this name sounds cool. And even if I didn't know anything about it, it'd be something I would probably read a description of, or if someone recommended, I would at least check out. So props to HH and the Fateless team for picking a great name, a great title for their first game. Now, there are beta signups here. I have already signed up for this beta. I'm hopeful to get in. That would be absolutely fantastic. I want to actually start playing this game as soon as possible. If you can't tell, I am very high on this project for a lot of reasons, which I'm going to explain today. Because like I said, people have been asking me questions. How do I feel about Godforge, about Fateless? What do I think? And so I'm going to give you some of those thoughts today. We're not going to go too in depth because there's just way too much to cover. But I do think that this is a very cool development in gaming. Like, gamers should be excited about Fateless potentially succeeding here with Godforge. And I'll tell you why. Now let's go ahead and go to the main website so you can see what this is all about. Okay, so first of all, if you want to know more about Godforge, you can come here, just click on the Godforge and it'll walk you through. There is a kind of a launch trailer here, or I don't know, not a launch trailer. It's a trailer. It's a preview trailer about Godforge. You can check that out. And this will tell you about the game itself. You can join the beta sign up, or you can join the Discord, or both. I'm a member of both. I've signed up for the beta and I'm part of the Discord community. Now, as far as Fateless is concerned, this is actually what I want to talk more about than just Godforge. So this is an indie game company. It's founded by just a few gamers from the Raid Shadow Legends community, HH being the face and the voice of this company. Now, why would he do this? Why would he risk this, right? He was doing very well as a content creator. His, the HH website is absolutely fantastic. HH Gaming is a nice company that they've got going on, which is, in just 5 years, they've built from the ground up and created a very successful business over there. So why do this? Why jump into the realm of indie game making, which is fraught with failures, right? Like, there's so many risks here. Why do this? And I think it's simple. It's simple because this is, for a lot of gamers, this is the dream, right? The idea is, I'm a gamer. I've been a gamer all my life. I have a vision of what the perfect game might look like, or about what good games might look like. And I think I can do a good job in doing it. But there's a barrier, right? There are a lot of barriers. How do you get into it? Do you go and work for the big gaming companies? Then you don't really make the games that you want to make, right? What about like coding from the ground up, learning coding and designing a game yourself and building? Like, that is a labor of love that is not likely to be financially successful. And a lot of people do it because they're passionate about it, but that's a hard way to build a gaming company. And so what HH has done here is took the foundation of HH Gaming, the website and the YouTube channel and all the success they've had, pooled resources and talent with, other members of the community, and they put together a team that they think can design a game. And then they went out, got the money, they got investors. We're talking about several $1 million to build this game. And then they hired a company which is design. The company's purpose is to design the game, like to actually build the game, not design the game. HH and his team are designing the game, and this company that they're working with actually puts that into, production with artwork and coding and, building the engine and all of that. So it's a complex endeavor here, right? But if you go ahead and look at what Fateless is, all about, you can just, they have a fairly simple website. It doesn't take a long time to look through that. You can see right here, it says making the games we want to play. Now, we know who these gamers are. We know Saf from HH Gaming. We know Hell Hades. We know Chosen. We know a lot of the Fateless players, right? And if you don't know who they are, by the way, you can go ahead and meet the team. And so we've got the three founders here, Simon, who is HH. Then we've got Sham and Dan. And you can see, Sham is the game director. Dan is marketing and management. And this is, these are HH people, right? So this is a team that's been working together for several years. They know each other and they work well together. And then we've got other members. You can see we've got Tim here, who is Ash. He's a content creator. We've got some of the other content creators. We've got Brad, who is Chosen. We've got Paul, who is Saf. So, we've got Susie here, who is Ivy League Gaming. So we got a lot of content creators here, and the team is continuing to build, and they're bringing in a lot of people, and it's really cool, but it's not a huge team, right? We're talking about, maybe 15, 20 people who are on this Fateless team. And then the company that they're working with is doing a lot of the, the technical aspects of implementing their design. I love the fact that HH has been incredibly transparent. So if you are interested in game development, you can go back and watch all of the videos from a year ago. I mean, Fateless has been in development for a year. You can watch all of these videos and see exactly the stages that they've gone through in terms of development, see how the developments work. He talks about the things that they messed up, the mistakes they made, things they've had to go back on. He talks about how they make decisions, how they work together as a team, how those ideas get implemented into the game, all sorts of things. He even talks about the investments and the money side of it a little bit. So if you're interested in that, they have a podcast as well. So there's you can get a lot from these other guys as well. Chosen and Sham run a podcast, and you see those, longer discussions about all of those aspects that I just mentioned that HH puts short videos about up on the Fateless YouTube channel. So, like I said, if you're interested in getting some background information or just insight into game development, you should check out the Fateless YouTube channel. Now, as far as the actual company is concerned, this is what I like, right? These are gamers who, like I said, they're living that dream. It's a tough dream, by the way. It's a lot of work, but they're living that dream of developing their own game. And so there are some things that they say here on the website. You should read through this. It's pretty cool. But basically the message here is they don't want to be a gaming company like other gaming companies. They relish their indie status. They think of themselves as gamers first. And so what do they stand for? It says right here, community first. Now, I buy this. I know every once in a while I get some negative comments about other content creators, including Hell Hades, on my YouTube channel. And I always defend other content creators. Content creation is tough. And I believe that Hell Hades, Simon, is a successful businessman. He's a smart guy. He's a sharp guy. He's clearly motivated. He works hard. He's running HH Gaming. He's running Fateless. He's still doing his YouTube channel and, creating content for that. And he puts out more content than anybody, by the way, way more content than I do. So he's a hardworking guy. He's very sharp. And you can see this first thing here is community first. And I believe that. I believe that because if you look at the Hell Hades website, the hellhades.com website for Raid Shadow Legends, it is the best third-party value-added project I've ever seen in gaming. Nobody has ever done, at least in my experience, a website for a game better that wasn't the company itself, right? It's incredibly well put together. It's really useful. I use it almost every day. And without it, being a content creator in Raid would be much harder. I have considered working in other games and doing, videos and content creation on other games. But without a resource like hellhades.com, it would be so much harder to make good content because there's so much information available from that website. Now, that is a community building block, right? But if you also look at the way that HH and his team has just approached their work with Raid Shadow Legends, I am convinced that they are very community oriented. And that's great because that means we have gamers who are trying to develop a game, but also look out for gamers. Now, original concepts, I'm not so sure about this. Like it's hard to have really original concepts, but they're trying to perhaps not get stuck in the boxes that other game companies might get stuck in due to their size, right? Due to sort of the inertia of large teams or, the marketing of big companies. They have the freedom to be flexible and nimble. So I think that's kind of what they're saying here. Entertaining gameplay. They should know what a fun game is. They're gamers. They're experienced gamers. There are a lot of experienced gamers. So they may not be exactly you, but they represent us, I think, pretty well as a spectrum, as a team. Personal experiences, cool. We'll see how much of that is embedded in the game. And then respect and compassion, I think, is really important because if most of us have a complaint about Raid, it usually centers on Plarium, right? The company that that puts together Raid, or not even Plarium, but maybe their parent company, Aristocrat, which is a casino company, right? So we don't feel like Plarium in the past has shown a lot of respect and compassion to the community, to the player base. They haven't built that community. So I think this idea of community first and the idea of respect and compassion really go together. And I believe that this team feels that. You just have to watch some of their podcasts to know that they really do have a lot of respect and compassion for gamers and for gaming communities. Now, to be fair, you have to have a vision to do this, and you have to have an ego to believe that you can. So I'm not saying that they're just going to listen to what everybody says and give the community exactly what they want. They have to have a direction. And my hope is that they can execute on that vision effectively and still, with their monetization practices, with their advertising practices, with their game design practices, with their community outreach programs, with their content creator programs, they still can exhibit the respect and compassion for other gamers and and members of the community. Okay, so now I do want to talk about Godforge just a little bit. I think this is a cool way to go. Originally, Simon was talking about getting involved with a major IP. I know that they were in talks and plans to get an IP partner. The problem with that is that, like, if you try to do a Star Wars game or a Lord of the Rings game or a Harry Potter game or whatever, those intellectual property managers are going to have input in your game. And so what they have decided to do instead is build their own theme from the ground up. And they have gone with these sort of gods and heroes of history sort of theme. Now, this right away, as soon as I heard this reminded me of another game. This is Mythic Heroes. This is a mobile game. It's sort of in the genre of AFK Arena. So it's a gacha game, but it's not quite the same genre as Raid Shadow Legends. I played this game for a little bit over a year. I stopped when I started my Raid Shadow Legends YouTube channel. This is a fantastic game. It's really well done. It's really interesting. The characters are brought to life. They have personalities. The gameplay is varied and interesting. This is a very good game. I would still be playing it if I wasn't a content creator for Raid. I just don't have the time to play a lot of other games. But this is a game that I miss. You can see the art style here is very different. This is an anime art style. But much like Godforge, the champions in this are heroes, gods, myths, legends from various real world cultures throughout history. So you can see here we have a lot of Greek heroes. Here is Joan of Arc, so people from history, a lot of these are Greek heroes. But again, you have Norse mythology, you have all of the religions of the world, so there are champions from kind of Christian religions, Hindu religion, like from various cultures in the East and the West. There are a lot of them. And so the breadth of this, the scope of this kind of game can actually be really large. We know that, Raid Shadow Legends has something like 800 champions in the game. And so you might think that the roster here would be more limited. But in fact, you don't need 800 champions to make a hero collector. You don't need a roster that big. I think Mythic Heroes, when I started playing it, which was probably just a couple of months after launch, I think they had something in the vicinity of like 40 or 50 champions. And that felt like a lot. That felt like plenty. It's definitely a different style of game. I would like to see the same tactical complexity that we see in Raid in Godforge. That would be great. I don't know that that's their goal, but I would like to see some depth of gameplay. I don't want it to just be all bells and whistles. I want it to be really an interesting game. So in Raid Shadow Legends, the number of heroes can really make for a lot of possibilities. But I think even with a smaller roster of champions, you can still find a lot of tactical depth. If the gameplay is interesting, if the fights are interesting, if the combat mechanic is interesting. So we'll have to see what Godforge does. Now, if you haven't checked out Mythic Heroes before, I am not associated with Fateless. I'm not associated with Godforge. I'm not associated with Mythic Heroes. I'm not getting any money from any of this. This is just my personal experience trying to, again, answer some questions and give you my insight into these topics. So come here, check out Mythic Heroes. Definitely throw your support behind Godforge if you are at all interested. If you like the genre, if you think that there can be a game like Raid Shadow Legends that treats players better, right? That actually cares about what we think and is interested in building the community. And I'll give Plarium its props. It's done better over the last 8 or 10 months. It feels like they've implemented a new philosophy towards us and they care a little bit more about us. But the fact that it took 5 years for them to get Clan Siege into the game, just kind of representative of what we're talking about. I think Fateless is likely to launch with a lot of those. I'm sorry, not Fateless, Godforge. Godforge is likely to launch with a lot of those features that Raid left out for years, because these are Raid players. They know that frustration. And I think they're very much focused on creating the best game that they possibly can. So please sign up for the Fateless Discord. Subscribe to the Fateless YouTube channel if you can. Throw your support behind this crew. I am rooting for them, Simon. I am rooting for you guys so hard. I definitely want to be part of the beta. So if you watch this video, hit me up in Discord. Let me know. I definitely anything I can do to help out. I am absolutely excited about this title, and I'm going to have to make a decision. At some point, this title is going to launch, and I'm going to have to figure out if I'm going to be a content creator for this game, for Raid, for both. I don't really know, but I'm hoping that Godforge is successful, and if it is, that might be my new home. All right, so that is it for me today. Let me know in the comments below. Are you excited about Godforge? What do you think about the title? I think it's a sweet title. Let me know if you enjoy the title as well. How long have you been following this project? And are you as excited about it as I am? I want to hear all of your thoughts in the comments. All right, that is it for me today. Thanks so much for hanging out for this different kind of video. I've been Colred, and I will see you in another Raid Shadow Legends video very soon.